by advocate Mark Leyzerovich from Barak Leyzerovich law firm. He's representing the female prison guards. Thank you very much for coming into our studio today. Now, this story first came about in 2018. We haven't heard much about it since, except for the fact that the case was closed, as Mary said, for the lack of evidence, so claims the public prosecutor. What do we learn now from this new testimony that arrived at your office?
Well, we see that the state attorney does everything in his power to silence this story. Everything. And now we hear a lot of new evidence coming out of two new complaints. One of them is telling a horrifying story. I've been a lawyer for 20 years. Me and Karen Barak, my partner, represented dozens of women that were assaulted in civil cases against their attackers, and I have never seen a story like this. A story where the state, my beloved state, pimps out women in order to get silence and peace inside the prison, filled with terrorists with blood on their hands. It's remarkable. How can this thing happen in our state? The thing is that they are trying to silence it, and we are calling with your help for an independent committee to investigate. This is what happened when the investigators investigate themselves. You ask what is new?
The head of the prison, if I'm not mistaken, or was it someone even senior to him, in 2021, just less than a year ago, he said that female wardens or female guards were pimped out by guards at the prison. So what sort of evidence is public prosecution looking for?
I don't know. He has all the evidence needed. This is what happens when you let the investigator investigate themselves. They silence it. They've silenced it in 2018. They tried to silence it in 2021 and 22 when the prison break happened. Our sort of luck was when the officials said that they were pimping out female soldiers. How could this thing happen in my state?
Now, let's talk about some of the evidence that is coming out of the prison once again. Again, the situation that is being described is horrible. So there was a sort of barter there, or a sort of give and take relationship between the wardens and some of these security prisoners to ensure what? That there are no riots in the prison?
The give and take was negotiated, at least as we know, between the intelligence officers and even higher perhaps, and Muhammad Atala, which was the spokesperson of the prisoners. The spokesperson is the prisoner that is accountable for all the actions of the prisoners. So in order for him to keep the peace, okay, they pimped out soldiers. He said, I want to touch this soldier, I want to touch this soldier, and he said, I want to have sex with this soldier, I want to rape this soldier, and it happened. They allowed him. They knew what happened, and they allowed it to happen.
What do these girls say when you ask them, you know, at the end of the day, they are in a public facility. There are systems that they can approach. It's true. They can go and say, you know, my managers, my bosses, my commanders are misbehaving. This is what's happening. How do you explain the fact? How do they explain the fact that it's been going on for years without no one knowing, or did they know?
I have two answers. First, the warden, the big warden of the prison was Muhammad Atala. When he said something, it happened. For example, he came to one of the prison guards and told her, you're beautiful, you're going to serve in my ward. And she said, well, okay, you're crazy. And a day later, she served in his ward. And when she didn't want to come, he sent her for punishment, okay? So he controlled the prison. Who are you supposed to talk to if a prisoner, a terrorist with blood on his hand, is controlling the prison? The second thing I have to say, they did go out and tell the intelligence officer, and he did nothing. He told them, ignore it. He knew what he was doing.
Just horrible. Advocate Mark Leyzerovich, please stay with us. We're going to take a very short break now. We'll be back with more on this story and much more to come on today's show. Stay with us. Minister of Defense Gantz suggests that women should not be working in such facilities. Is that the solution, Advocate Mark Leybrowicz?
Not at all. Women can do everything. Women are better than men. It's known. My daughter is 13, and I am sure that she can do anything that she wants, and we should allow all women do anything that they want. But the system, the state, should provide everything that they need in order to be safe. What's the difference between a man and a woman in that condition? The state should keep them safe, but they should allow them to make everything that a man can do. It's completely possible.
There's so many technological innovations nowadays in place. Is there anything that could be used, from your experience, in cases like this in order to prevent similar cases to reappear?
Well, the thing is that all of the prison is being filmed, except one small part of 1 square meter, which Atala knew that is not filmed, and there the rape and everything else happened. Okay, so yeah, obviously there should be cameras everywhere, but there weren't. That's part of the negligence that happened there.
Let's talk a little bit about the ladies that you represent. It's been 4 years, I'm sure, 4 horrible years for some of these women and more, and then a few more cases that you're hearing now from other girls. What state are they in?
Well, all the women are shocked. All the women have a post-traumatic situation, and they are very depressed. They find themselves with a lot of difficulties walking. Most of them walk in places where there are no men. But I want to talk especially about Hila, the prisoner guard that was brutally raped by Atala. She is totally broken. For the last 7 years, she's not working. She does nothing with her life because she can't get out of bed after being raped by a terrorist with blood on his hands, under the supervision and under the pimping of the state. We are trying to raise money in order to help 2 things. One is to help this struggle. We are convinced that an independent committee of investigation has to start, and the state of Israel has to investigate it objectively. This is one part. The second part, which is much more important, is helping her being treated by the best psychiatrists and psychologists that money can buy. So we urge, go inside the site which is called Be Active, COAL. In the main page you will see the place where you can contribute. Please open your heart. Help her. Be Active,
COIL, yes. And that's where you can make donations to help Hila.
Yeah.
One of those women that is complaining. Just before we part, some of the people that have been accused by these girls of pimping them, are they still in office? Are they still in duty at the prison?
Well, there are 2 periods, between 2014 and 2016, and between 2016 and 2018, okay? The only one that was, let's say, punished, okay, he was removed from his office, is the intelligence office that served between 2016 and 2018. The rape and the attempted rape for the 2 women, Hila and Shirley, happened between 2014 and 2016. Nothing happened to the intelligence officer that is there. Nothing happened to anyone. It was closed. They are trying to silence this, and we will not let them.
Advocate Mark Leyzerowicz, representing the female guards, thank you very much
for
coming into our studio today.